The new Norse gods of Kalos will awaken, and Xerneas, Yveltal, and Zygarde are not only the key, but the answer to the biggest question Legends ZA has presented to all of us thus far. What the heck is Tepig doing here? Legends ZA has finally shared with us the starter Pokemon we will take on our journey, but the choices seem odd at first glance. 2 Johto and 1 Unova, none with a clear connection to X and Y, unless we're looking at everything from the wrong perspective. Everyone keeps focusing on Kalos itself, concluding that their inclusion must be meant to reflect French history. But what if we told you their inclusion was inspired from something much deeper and far more ancient? Norse mythology. And this isn't a guess. In fact, it's the Legends Arceus starters, especially Decidueye, that actually gave us this hint. Everything here, all of this revolves around the starters from Legends past, the Legendaries of X and Y, and around the world of Norse mythology. For these 3 starters were chosen to fulfill the roles of war, nature, and death. But if you are to understand any of this, then we must first dive deeper into the inspiration behind the Legends Arceus starters. The inspiration that is Japanese mythology.
Let's look at that huge hint Pokemon gave us with the Legends Arceus starters, Cyndaquil, Rowlet, and Oshawott. This unique starter combination was a series first, as each starter was given a regional form, which was previously exclusive to every other Pokemon but the starters. Each starter's final evolution was given a Hisuian form, the fiery phantom Typhlosion, the autumn archer Decidueye, and the sinister samurai Samurott. These starters were selected because their evolutions could be used to help represent the themes and mythological inspirations of this game's story. It's common knowledge that the Sinnoh region is based on Japan. So with Legends Arceus taking place in ancient Sinnoh, the Hisui region, it's clear that it takes many inspirations from ancient Japan, more specifically, Japanese folklore. By the way, we apologize if we pronounce any names wrong in this video, we try our best. Hisuian Typhlosion, the flaming spiritual guide to the afterlife, taking inspiration from Japanese folklore like the Shinigami, death gods, and the Kamui Fuchi, a goddess of life and fire from the Ainu mythology, an indigenous ethnic group of Japan. Hisuian Decidueye, a fall-colored casa-wearing hunter taking inspiration from wandering Ronins, and the Ainu god of the land and owls, Kipop Kamui. Hisuian Samurott, the dark and deceitful Ronin, taking inspiration from samurais who were outcast from being dishonorable, later becoming cold-hearted mercenaries, while also taking some inspiration from the Onryo, the wrathful spirits in Japanese folklore, who have been linked to evil Ronin and the possibility that after their death, they would return to take their revenge. The potential for Cyndaquil, Rowlet, and Oshawott to help represent Japanese myth and culture in their final evolutions are the reason they were chosen as the starters of Legends Arceus. And Tepig, Chikorita, and Totodile will operate the same way. Their final evolutions, their regional forms, will help to represent the themes and mythological inspirations of Legends ZA. But what are some of these themes and inspirations that these 3 could even represent? Well, to answer that, we need to bring back the key that we mentioned earlier, the Legends of X and Y. They are the key to unlocking the door to all of this, and that's because of their connection to Norse mythology. But wait a minute, Norse mythology? At the very least, wouldn't Kalos, a region based on France, pull from French folklore instead of Norse? Well, not necessarily. For starters, these starters don't have any French themes to begin with. And when it comes to Decidueye, its inspiration have nothing to do with Japanese culture. Its most notable inspiration is the Pueo owl. This owl holds incredible cultural significance relating to the Aumakua, which are ancestral spirits of Hawaiian culture. Again, apologies for any mispronunciation. But then its Hisuian form, as we explained previously, recontextualizes it completely, tying its new appearance and traits to that of Japanese-related culture. In other words, if they can take a creature designed with Hawaiian themes and from a Hawaiian region and recontextualize it to match the themes of Japanese mythology, then they could easily take 3 creatures who aren't French-themed or from a French region to begin with and tie it into Norse mythology instead. If you've seen our Floette theory video on how she'll turn out to be this game's main antagonist, then you might know where we're going with this. In that video, we went over Gen 6 and its strong connections to Norse mythology that helped shape the game's story. The 3 main legendaries, Yveltal, Xerneas, and Zygarde, all take heavy inspirations from Norse mythology and the legend of the world tree, Yggdrasil. In the branches of the tree sits the giant eagle, Corpse Swallower, matching Yveltal's motif of death. And at the trunk of the tree, there are a group of stag eating the leaves of the tree as morning dew drips from their horns. Another similar stag, known as Eikthrunr, who sits in Valhalla sporting glowing horns, with his dew flowing into all the rivers of the world representing life-giving energy, matching Xerneas' motif of life. If we pronounce any of these names wrong, we are very sorry. Zygarde's connection to Norse mythology is even more clear. At the roots of the world's tree sits the serpent Nidhogg, a dragon who is said to gnaw at its roots. But its main inspiration draws from Loki, the Norse trickster god, and his children. Its 50% form reflects another serpent, the world serpent Jormungand, a son of Loki. Its 10% form, based on Loki's other son, Fenrir, the demon wolf. Its complete form, Loki himself. Notice the 2 snake heads he commands at the end of his tentacles. 2 snakes are the symbol of Loki. Loki's main associated colors include green and black, Zygarde's main color scheme. Loki is also known to have cracked lips. This could lend to the design of a complete Zygarde's chest, as it is a cracked mouth. Now there are a lot more connections we made between Kalos and Norse mythology, the absolute biggest being Floette's connections. But you can find out about all of that, along with proof of Floette's entire design inspiration, and how it reveals that she will be this game's main antagonist, in our Floette theory video. Links in the description. So to bring everything together so far, we understand that Typhlosion, Decidueye, and Samurott were chosen because they could be given forms that best represent Japanese folklore. So now for this new Legends game, we can take Norse folklore and use that to surmise why Embor, Meganium, and Feraligatr were chosen as the starters and what new forms they will be given. And we found some stark connections that bring everything to light. We'll start with Tepig, as its final evolution, its Kalosian form, will represent the Norse themes of battle and war.
By ember and ash the metal clash amidst a mist of red boiling oil, and with every shackle and crackle brings the heat of utter turmoil. But is this the process of war melting onto a nation, or ore smelting onto a station? For Tepig, both ore and war will lie at its core, for through them the Kalosian form of Embor will be born. When researching Norse mythology, as we seem to do a lot on this channel, we came across the legend of Gullinbursti and Hildisvini, 2 of some of the most legendary creatures in Norse mythology. Gullinbursti, or the Golden Bristle, and Hildisvini, or the Battle Boar. 2 boars that accompany the Norse god of fertility and peace, Freyr.
Rain, if only you could cleanse the corrupt souls of this world.
And his twin sister, the Norse goddess of love, battle, and flowers, Freya.
Oh, aren't you just the sweetest?
These boars hold immense significance within Norse mythology, serving as the most influential symbols of strength, prosperity, and fertility. They were even honored in ceremonies during Old Norse rituals. But what do these boars have to do with Tepig? Well, taking a look at its final stage, Embor, it is a fire-fighting type that has mastered fast and powerful fighting moves, with a flaring beard of fire that is proof of its immense vitality. All of these represent Gullinbursti and Hildisvini perfectly. For starters, they were both forged by 2 dwarves from fire itself. Gullinbursti. Its name translates to gold bristle or gold mane. because its bristles were made of pure gold. It was also incredibly powerful and known for its extraordinary speed and strength. The same was true for Hildisvini, which meant battle swine or battle boar, because of its role as an emblem of courage and power on the battlefield. Despite the names, both boars were golden and would be rode into battle by the twin gods. Their creation connects with Embor's fire typing. Their use in battle connects with Embor's fighting typing. And all three share the trait of being very fast and very strong. When it comes to their gold color, Embor remains orange in both its normal and shiny variants. But as for Tepig's shiny, its body is covered in golden bristles. And let's not forget Embor's fiery beard. A boar's mane grows from under its chin, then up to the back of its head. Embor's fiery beard is actually a flaming mane. And like Embor, the manes of Golembursti and Hildisvini were described as blazing like the sun, able to illuminate the darkest of nights. Now, you may recall that Tepig's shiny golden appearance is due to the Year of the Golden Pig, a special year within the Chinese zodiac that represents good fortune and wealth. Ken Sugimori himself even designed Tepig and its evolutionary line with Chinese themes in mind. But that's exactly the point. As we mentioned in the beginning with Decidueye, Pokemon has no problems taking a Pokemon with specific cultural themes and recontextualizing it into representing something else completely. Just like choosing Typhlosion to represent the yokai, some of the most important creatures in Japanese folklore, Tepig's inclusion actually makes a lot of sense, as it's the only starter that could represent arguably some of the most important figures in Norse folklore. That said, this Colossian Embor could become a Fire-Steel type and maybe even remain on all fours this time around. But now that the dust has seemed to settle and the battle is now behind us, let's see what we can discover next for Colossian Meganium and her themes of life and nature.
Also, real quick, we'd really love to know what ideas you have for why these starters were chosen, as well as what their collision forms might be. Unless you think they could get mega evolutions, then tell us those ideas too. As always, I'm Devi. And I'm Darx. One's orange and one's purple. And if you enjoyed this video, then you can show your support with a like and subscribe. Now back to the leaf Pokemon, Chikorita. An adorable little green bean whose power of life is so pure, so clean, shining so pristine that it can outlast the baddest of bad and the meanest of mean. So let's convene and surmise which of the many Norse nature queens would best be suited for a Pokemon where, in the face of decay, they are the vaccine. Meganium is the herb Pokemon, known for its soothing aroma and refreshing spirit. Once again, an odd choice for a Legends ZA starter. That is, of course, until we look back at Norse mythology and, there's a lot of deities in the Norse mythos with a connection to nature and life itself, huh? A Pokemon could easily take inspiration from any one of them for a Colossian Meganium. For instance, we have Jord, the mother of Thor and the mother of nature itself. She is Earth personified, the nature goddess representing fertility and growth. But we also have Gefyun, a goddess of agriculture and vegetation. She represents abundance and prosperity. But we can't forget Sif, the wife of Thor, a goddess also representing fertility and the earth, as well as the harvest. Now, these goddesses of nature would all make perfect sense as an inspiration for this new Colossian Meganium. But there must be something more, another goddess that could truly be the direction that not only better suits Meganium, but also gives reason as to its new typing. If you paid close attention to the Legends ZA trailers, then you would have spotted a new move previously unlearnable by Chikorita, Disarming Voice, a fairy-type move. And as we've seen in past Pokemon games with Rowlet learning Astonish, a ghost-type move, or Sprigatito learning Hone Claws, a dark-type move. These moves can very well be indications of what typing they will take on later in their evolutions. So, with a potential grass fairy Colossian Meganium, we can actually make a case for the Norse goddess of spring, Idun. You see, Idun represents more than just nature. She represents eternal youth and vitality. And Meganium can help portray a key aspect of this goddess. In Meganium's Pokédex entry, we can see that its breath holds within it the power to revive grasses and plants that have withered. And this is exactly the power that Idun possesses. Idun holds a basket of magical golden apples that could keep living beings, even the gods, living young, healthy, and strong for all eternity. Idune's name means ever young, or rejuvenating one, and Meganium's abilities operate the same way. She can give life energy, she can rejuvenate living beings, even plants that have already died. And that's exactly why a fairy typing is perfect. Fairies in almost all forms of media are symbolic with healing, reviving, and pure life energy, similar to the powers of Idune and her golden apples. Now things are starting to come together. Meganium is the best starter choice for helping to represent the natural and life energy-filled side of Norse mythology. Even the flower around its neck can correlate perfectly to vitality and eternity. This right here is a hybrid daylily. And notice the similar pattern of white edges around a vibrant pink flower with a bright center. Even the petals have similar patterns, both flowers having 3 petals in the back and 3 in front. Meganium even sports stamen-like antennae, and stamens come out the center of hybrid daylilies. This flower is known to start blooming as early as spring, and just like the Norse goddess of spring, Idune, these flowers hold the power of vitality. They're low maintenance, easy to grow, and bloom abundantly. Though the blooms themselves only last around a day, new ones grow back swiftly. And that's because the main plant and roots of the hybrid daylily are tough and long-lasting. They're able to thrive in almost any soil and can even outlast diseases and pests. This flower around Meganium's neck is full of so much life energy that, just like Idune's golden apples, has properties of longevity and strength. A new Colossian form of Meganium, inspired off of the Norse goddess Idune, just makes perfect sense. A grass fairy-type Pokemon that has its natural healing ability boosted to extraordinary levels, enabling it to give eternal youthful energy to those in need. A true goddess of nature and spring, blooming with strength. But now it's time to turn the tides to the dark side of the Norse, as we tackle the final starter, Totodile, its final evolution's Colossian form, and how it will represent the themes of terror and death.
Dark and eerie, drowned and dreary, this is the next stop on our query. For what will become of Totodile, the adorable little lad so cheery? Now hear ye and listen to our theory. For the darkness in these depths shall make you grow weary. As you succumb to the wrath of the ocean's grip, the waters hold, you would do best to stay leery.
Because now you've arrived at the final starter, and figuring out what could inspire a Colossian Feraligatr was a little harder than we thought. Up until now, we've made connections for Emboar and Meganium that just made so much sense. A warboar and a goddess of nature and spring. But for Feraligatr, well, there aren't any famous crocodiles or alligators in Norse mythology. Well, there are the Dreki in the game God of War Ragnarok. And while they are large alligator and crocodile-like monsters who sport a bluish color scheme with reddish spines along its back, unfortunately, upon further research, these monsters are not actually a part of Norse mythology. They were created specifically for this game, unlike some other monsters and characters that this game actually does pull from Norse mythology. So with that road leading nowhere, we had to think outside of the box. We had to get creative. You see, Norse mythology has its fair share of serpents, dragons, worms, you name it. For instance, we have Hafgufa, a mythical serpent living in the murky waters of the ocean. Legends say that its massive body allows it to open its mouth and swallow ships in one gulp. Hold on a sec. A watery reptile monster known for its huge bite, and a watery reptile Pokemon known as the Big Jaw Pokemon. Well, case closed. Sounds good enough to us. But something feels missing. Making the connection to Hafgufa feels disingenuous, as Hafgufa isn't even that important in Norse mythology. It's not a character that plays an important role. It's just there. And what happened to being creative and thinking outside the box? This one seemed pretty simple, to be honest. It was during this thought process that we had felt we hit a wall, until we were hit with a flash of inspiration. We thought to ourselves, what if we're going about this at a wrong angle? We shouldn't focus on the monsters of the deep alone. No, but the one who rules them all. A deity that has full control over the ocean. But is there one that's as ferocious and intimidating as Feraligatr? And to our surprise, yes, there is. Let us introduce to you the Jotun Aegir, a giant and king of the sea, said to be the personification of the sea itself. Now forget about him, as we introduce to you his better half, his wife, Ran. one of the most powerful Norse deities, the goddess of the sea, and the personification of the dark and sinister side of the ocean. Yes, Ron here ties it all together, and it's all thanks to hers and Feraligator's similarities when it comes to hunting and personality. Starting with their personalities, Ron is associated with sea storms and the countless deaths of sailors. She was feared by all seagoers. Her stories were tales of caution, warning you to stay wary while traveling the ocean or even a river, for she's always watching, waiting to shred you apart with massive storms, dragging your soul down into the ocean's abyss. This matches well with Feraligator, a Pokemon whose name comes from the combined words feral, ferocious, and alligator. A Pokemon who bites with its massive and powerful jaws. It shakes its head and savagely tears its victim up. Just like Ron, it's a force to be reckoned with. After all, Feraligator is the most vicious and savage out of all the water starters, and this is evident by the violent nature of the Pokedex entry we just read earlier, and the fact that it's the only water starter to naturally learn the move Scary Face while leveling up. A move in which the user frightens the target. And remember earlier when we said that Ron was always watching, waiting to destroy seagoers? Well, this matches the nature of Feraligator, who, like crocodiles, sleeps with one eye open. A phenomenon known as unihemispheric sleep, in which only half of the brain takes a rest, while the other half stays vigilant and watches for prey. And before anyone types in the comments that Feraligator is an alligator, not a crocodile, well, yes and no. The entire evolutionary line of Totodile is inspired off of both alligators and crocodiles, as evident by their naming conventions, so all traits from both species apply. And as you can see, in Pokemon Sleep, Feraligator has a special sleep style called One-Eyed Sleep. Now looking back at Goddess Ran and Feraligator, their methods of hunting are very similar. Ran is known for her net. This even acts as her most significant symbol, and she uses this net to capture, drag down, and drown seagoers. And Feraligator, it usually moves slowly, but it goes at blinding speed when it attacks and bites prey. And alligators and crocodiles' main method of attack is known as the death roll. It involves biting down on their prey, then viciously spinning them around by rolling intensely, all while dragging them underwater to drown them. Now, as far as the typing for this new Colosian Feraligator, honestly not sure. It could be Water Dark, matching the, well, dark themes of Ron, but we already got a Water Dark starter in the last Legends game. So perhaps it could be Water Ghost or Water Dragon, keeping in line with the horrific and ferocious nature of Ron and Feraligator. Either way, this Colosian Feraligator would be a force to be reckoned with. So there you have it, our ideas for why they chose these three as the starter Pokemon for Legends ZA, as well as what direction they might take them. But whether it's for French themes or Norse themes, one thing's for certain. Tepig, Chikorita, and Totodile were chosen for a reason, and we can't wait to see what that reason will be.